Good evening. Tonight, we finished the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise with the fifth and final film, Salazar's Revenge, which, on a quick note, I think is one of the weaker titles. It's quite generic. Do you agree? I don't know. It just doesn't hit quite like the others. Anyway, not an issue. we opened the film with a really good intro, actually. I much prefer this to the last one that I felt was a bit weaker. We get child version of Henry out in the sea all alone, and then he just jumps in, and I find this quite scary, actually. The fact that just seeing a kid all alone in the middle of the ocean is quite a horrible sight, but it's absolutely gripping, so it's perfect for an intro. And then he, of course, dives onto the Dutchman to meet his father, and I have to praise the special effects on this, actually, because the effects when the Dutchman comes to the surface, it's remarkable. This is actually, I think, probably the most consistent film in terms of its quality with special effects, which makes sense because it's the most recent and it's quite a way ahead of the other four films. Actually, there was a long break between them. In fact, I remember it being such a surprise when it was announced. It was just everywhere. It was insane. But yeah, special effects, amazing. And that continues on to the introduction of Salazar. He looks incredible in this. Played, of course, by Javier Bardem. Fantastic performance. He's perfect for the role. He's completely menacing. He hooks you from the first second he's on screen. Yeah. His murders are chilling as well. The fact that as soon as we meet him, he's just driving that sword through people's chests. And the dripping blood as well, the way we build up to his proper intro with him meeting Henry, the fact that we just see the blood drip through the floorboards and him stomping across the decks. And the dialogue as well, his dialogue is almost always about death. And it's just delivered in a terrifying way. It's perfect for the character. Then we meet Karina, played of course by the wonderful Kaya, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Scodelario, somewhere in between. But she did a fantastic job in this role. Obviously most known for performing in Skins, fantastic show, and she continues her lending her brilliant talents to this motion picture as well. Karina it's immediately apparent that she's incredibly clever, and we get some foreshadowing of the lack of a father figure in her life, which seems quite an insignificant line at the time. Little did we know. And then Captain Jack Sparrow enters the film, people, with another perfect entry. They just nail it every time. I don't know how, but they do. We've got another classic escape. Him waking up in the bank. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. And I have to praise the actor who plays Gibbs as well for this scene, Kevin R. McNally. His reaction when they're trying to pull Jack out of trouble and the bank starts being dragged along with them, he just looks behind and the expression he gives is absolute gold. It's such an understated performance, but the franchise would not be the same without him. He's absolutely fantastic. And just a general thing that's most apparent in these early scenes is the comedic value in the dialogue in every scene. It's just so funny. There are so many iconic one-liners in this one film, and it's essentially all that the trailer was made up of, I remember, but it wasn't too unserious. It was witty. It was clever. It's just brilliant. It's like the perfect Pirates of the Caribbean humor. You know, they've really nailed it down by this point. Um, so they just go ham with it, and I'm forever grateful. um, then we get quite a sad scene actually when Jack supposedly loses his crew because all of his crewmates quite rightfully lose faith in him. There are funny moments, but it's kind of heartbreaking the way it's acted out, and you know you assume that they're going to make a comeback, but it's just so sad. Like Jack's reaction to it, you feel so sorry for him, like he's completely left alone. And then there's a rather beautiful moment where the compass points to the open ocean. I just love that. It's just such a subtle, beautiful idea. And then Jack, of course, gives away his compass in the only way he could. They trade off for a drink. And we get the amazing release of Salazar, and the scale of this and the locations and the CGI, it's absolutely brilliant. Then we meet Barbossa again, where he has yet another amazing costume upgrade. He just gets posher and posher at the moment. And he has quite a sinister meeting with Shanza, a new character played by, and again, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but bear with me, Golshifter Farahani. I just love this character, and I wish she had a bigger part in this, because the scene she's in, she was absolutely magnificent, and it kind of felt like a character that could be used a lot more. I feel like there's a lot of potential there, and the makeup was brilliant, and the performance was brilliant, and her chemistry with Barbossa was fantastic. The humour between them was incredible. Yeah, I would love to see her again if they ever make another one, which I don't think they will. And to be honest, I think that's a correct decision, but I will get onto that later, so stay tuned. Then Captain Jack is being dragged by his heels through the prison, where he passes by Uncle Jack, who is a hilarious character. Love him. Then we get the great trial scene between Sparrow and Karina, where it's the first time they probably meet, and just the back and forth between them is completely golden. And then contrasting with that, obviously after they get bailed out by Jack's crewmates, where he delightfully asks to be paid for his own rescue. I love that. Classic Jack. But yeah, then we get the meeting between Barbossa and Salazar, and Geoffrey Rush's reaction when he realises what's going on. It's completely memorable. I just cannot stress enough how much of a brilliant actor Geoffrey Rush is. And he just gives every scene his all in this motion picture, and it shines through every second he's on screen. You cannot take his eyes off him. Even when there's a terrifying, menacing ghost standing behind him, what you're looking at is his expression and just the way he moves his eyes, and it's absolutely brilliant. More brutality from Salazar, by the way, by just killing for fun. When he taps his sword on the deck and another man, you just hear a scream in the background. Absolutely brutal. And then some more praise for the great Johnny Depp when he's drunkenly sleeping, and Henry starts to question his integrity as a pirate. But I want to praise Johnny Depp because his switch when Henry pulls a sword on him and then Jack just comes out with the gun, the way he just shifts from a comedic drunk to this darkness and this threatening, menacing expression is completely genius. And it just reminds you what Johnny Depp's actually capable of. He's not just, you know, a funny drunk character that's there to lighten up the mood. He's got this history and he's capable of terrible things. And he will not hesitate either if he's driven to it. It's just a beautiful reminder of that. And then we get, for me, one of my favourite scenes in the motion picture where Salazar is explaining his past and what originally happened between him and Jack. The direction and the narration from Javier is perfect television. The wide shots and the slow-mos, they are absolutely gorgeous. And the music swelling and it's just, it feels like a climax to the film. It feels so significant the way it's performed and delivered. It's completely memorable to me. It sticks in my mind every time. Then Jack and Henry get attacked by dead sharks. Of course they do. And again, I just have to praise the effects on this. It's a brilliant scene. And again, hilarious when Jack is essentially using the shark to pull him towards shore. Absolutely genius. Again, a classic Captain Jack way of getting out of trouble. Just improvise. Hope for the best. And look cool while you're doing it. That's absolutely crucial. And then moving on to a slightly lesser point of the wedding scene, which I'll admit is funny, and, you know, I'm not against the inclusion of it, but it just feels unnecessary. And I'd love to know your thoughts on this, because until it, you know, Barbossa comes in to free the pearl and everything, it just feels unnecessary. It doesn't feel like it has much significance to the plot. It's quite long as well for something that doesn't really move anything forward. Like, it doesn't contribute much to the story, but it feels like it takes up quite a lot of time for what it is, you know, just for some comedic relief. But yeah, as I said, it is funny, so I enjoyed watching it on a light note. But yeah, let me know what you think, because I'm not quite sure it's completely necessary. So I'd love to know your thoughts. And then, of course, the pearl grows back with some brilliant special effects and some brilliant comedy moments where it just grows about, you know, a fraction of the size, and Barbossa chucks it in the sea, and it's quite moving actually when they think it's sunk and they've lost it forever. And then it emerges to the surface, and it's, iconic. Love that scene. And then back on the Pearl, we find out that, of course, Karina is the daughter of Hector Barbossa. A fantastic scene. Again, I know I'm just fawning over Jeffrey Rush, but how can I not? Can you blame me? If you've seen any of these films and you're not, then I'm sorry, I can't help you, but I think you need to see someone, because it's just inhuman not to. His reactions are just gold. He nails every moment. As I said, he steals your attention every second he's on the screen. No matter what line he's delivering, you just believe him. He just delivers everything so convincingly. Gorgeous scene, and just shows off his range again when Jack, you know, lets the cat out of the bag, and Barbossa just switches to this, you know, threatening pirate that we know him as. It's just two titans of the acting world going at it, and it's a pleasure to watch. You feel honoured to watch it, you know. And then, after a big fight, a brilliant fight as always, they find the island where the trident is located, and the direction and the effects is second to none in this scene, especially. It's obviously it's supposed to convey a reflection of the heavens, and that's completely the word for it. It is heavenly. It would be such an easy scene to feel like an anticlimax. It's been building up to this entire moment, and some poor special effects would just completely take away from the film and make it all seem pointless. But the fact that they absolutely nail it, it makes it all seem worth it, and makes it a fitting, finale to the story. The wide shots are stunning, and the music is sublime. There is just so many scenes in this motion picture that are the full package, with the direction, the actors, the music, the story. Everything just comes together in one gorgeous, gorgeous package, and this is just another example. Yeah, beautiful watch. And speaking of CGI as well, when the sea breaks up, it looks absolutely incredible. But the thing I noticed especially were the sound effects, actually. I feel like, yeah, the CGI is incredible, but the sound effects just immerse you in the world. And you just feel enveloped by the story, and you feel like you're there, and these crazy, fantastical things, they feel so far-fetched, but you just believe it's all possible because of the way it's delivered. So credit to the audio team and the special effects team and to everyone else involved, because any one of those aspects being slightly lackluster would have completely spoiled it. But the fact that they didn't just makes the film. And to be honest, that goes for the entire franchise as well. And then we have a beautiful sword fight in the tomb, where again the sets and the CGI is second to none. And Henry turns into a ghost, which was very unexpected, and absolutely terrifying when he speaks, and you kind of hear the voice of Salazar, and his makeup, and it's absolutely brilliant, really scary actually. And then he attacks Jack, where I don't know if it's just because of the context of it being the final film, but I felt a real sense of defeat seeing this scene because of Johnny Depp's performance, firstly, and just the duration of the way they really spin it out, like the attack. Then you really think it might actually be over for Jack. And then, of course, we get the fantastic slow-mo shot of Henry slicing the trident in half. Yeah, fantastic scene, fantastic scene. Then finally, we move to possibly the most iconic scene of the entire franchise, in my opinion. I'd love to know what yours is, by the way, in that regard. But for me, Barbossa's death has to be up there. Again, it's just the combination of everything, the music, the direction, Jeffrey Rush. I cannot stop mentioning it. Again, you're probably sick of me, but it would be an injustice to not. So, you're just going to have to put up with it. But the special effects of him being submerged in the water, it's not just a still, like, special effects model of Jeffrey Rush falling. When he actually reaches the water, you see his body scrambling and actually being submerged in the deep ocean. And it feels so real, and that just makes it all the more impactful. And then, of course, when the other three come up to the surface, the crewmates realise that there's one missing, and their reactions are just completely heartbreaking. It's so subtle, the way they just all lift their hats and place them on their chest, and again, Gibbs, fantastic reaction. He looks so devastated, and just places his hand on his chest, and it's such a beautifully sad scene. Fantastic performances from all of the side cast. Without them, again, the franchise wouldn't be what it is, but because everyone believes in the project so much, and they're all giving 110% with their full dedication and heart, that's what makes these scenes so memorable. And the franchise is such a success. It's not just the stars and the main cast, it's every single person who has a moment on screen. They're giving it their all. And then, of course, we move into the beautiful ending where we get reunited with Will and Elizabeth, which, I mean, probably, is it really necessary? Probably not. But am I mad about it? Absolutely not. Because, again, this is one of the reasons why I'd like it to be the last film, and I know that they said it is, and it's pretty set in stone that it is the final film, and they won't be making another one. But when something's successful and an opportunity arises, things can happen, so you never know. But I do hope that this is the final chapter in the franchise, because moments like this do round it off beautifully, and if there was another motion picture after this, then it would dampen it very much, in my opinion. But because it has the context of being the final film, I can forgive it for these moments and just enjoy them for what they are. And it is a beautiful moment. Obviously, we missed them very much in the last film. It by no means is a lesser motion picture because of their absence, but again, thanks to the actors and the story who give it their all and carry it without, these Hollywood names. But it's beautiful to see them again, and it's a good tying of the loose ends, I feel, for the final film. And then, in the very final scene, Captain Jack Sparrow is back as the captain of the Pearl. His compass is returned, and in, I think, the most significant character arc of all, the monkey just leaps onto his shoulder right at the end. And it feels like a wholesome bonding moment, I feel, between them. We get a very nervous thanks from Jack when the monkey hands over the compass. Brilliantly delivered by Johnny Depp, by the way. I just love that reaction. It's so understated, but perfect in every way. Yeah, he's a genius, as we know. Yeah, that it just all rounds off the film perfectly, and it's a beautiful end to the franchise. So of course, that's the end to the franchise means that it is also the end of me rambling about the franchise, which you may be grateful for. I've probably talked your ear off. I apologise for that, but credit to you if you've listened to a single word I've said. Either way, I've enjoyed talking about it. I hope you've enjoyed listening if you have, and enjoyed hopefully watching through these motion pictures with me, because, regardless of your opinions, I think it's pretty universal that they're just an enjoyable watch. Wouldn't you agree? I think so. Yeah, I very much enjoyed binging them. A mini marathon of the Pirates franchise. And I will speak to you soon when I find something else to obsess over, which will undoubtedly be before long, so look forward to that. And I'll hold you to sticking around, because, without you, I'm just rambling into the abyss, so I appreciate you being here. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and thank you for listening, if you're still here. I look forward to seeing you again soon. All my best.